Good morning, good morning, good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, good whatever, wherever you are joining me from. I am back in Chicago for our Embrace Your Life chat, where the intention is to heighten celebrations and lessen sorrows through a positive focus. I apparently brought the Pacific Northwest weather back with me because it's a rainy, chilly day here, but you know what? It's still a beautiful day. So I'm Carol C.C. Miller, your positive life strategist, peace activator, and global hugger, coming to you with another episode of Embrace Your Life Chats. Please let me know in comments where you're joining me from. And also let me know if you are new to Positive Focus and my work. I love welcoming in the new people. And I just noticed I have my comments turned off where I can't see them. So I'm going to try to say your name, Shafiqua. I'm so bad at names. Welcome from Pakistan. And Lauren, welcome. I'm glad to have you here new. So please, again, let me know in comments. And just so you know, I will do my little chat for the day. Then I will also come back into comments. So if you have questions about what we're talking about today, or some ideas and comments and questions of what you would like me to approach on future episodes on embracing your life. So my main focus, my values are love, kindness, compassion, and peace. And any way that I can bring more of that into the conversation with whatever you are going through, what the world is going through. As I say, life is beautiful and it's messy. So we kind of want to discuss it all. So welcome, Lisa, Amy from Ohio. Oh, and another newbie. Welcome, welcome. Hello, Rachel. Are you still out in Arizona? I just got back yesterday, or no, I didn't. I got back Sunday night. Well, actually, 2 a.m. Monday morning. Welcome, Diamond. Good to have you here from I will say this word, Worcester, Massachusetts. So welcome. A couple things that I like to discuss before I get into today's topic is one, just to let you know a little bit more about me and my work. One is I am not an absolutist. I'm not a big fan of the words always, never, right, wrong, good, or bad. You will hear me use them on occasion, but it's rare that I use them because there's 7 billion people on this planet. I can't begin to say what is always right for 7 billion people. Can't begin to say what is always wrong. So you're going to see me work from a scale of 0 to 100. 0 being always negative, always unkind, always unloving, always non-peaceful, to 100 being always kind, always loving, all of those things. My work, my nonprofit is called Positive Focus. I am not positive 100% of the time. I'm not kind and loving and compassionate and peaceful 100% of the time. I am the majority of the time because I made them my practices, my values. What I work on daily is to be in the 80 to 100% of the time. Kind, loving, compassionate, peaceful. And so that's what my work is. What does that mean? Fear visits, unworthiness visits, frustration, anger, disappointment, all the normal feelings that I'm not going to say everyone, but I would say the vast, vast majority of people have in their days or weeks or months or years in life. So it's not about being always positive or always kind, but my work and what I hope to help instill with you is to do it the majority of the time. Now, my work, daily practice for many years, is to be in the 80 to 100%. To be in the majority of the time requires 51%. So it's not like if you're just learning how to strengthen your positivity muscles or your kindness muscles, does not mean you even have to achieve or try to get to 80%. Right now, it's try to get to 51%. And it's also about if you're at 40%, 30%, 20%, 90%, you're not a good or bad person or right or wrong person. It's where you're at, how does it feel, and how do you want to move forward. So that's the first thing I like to let people know. I do say those words always and never, good or bad, on occasion, but I just don't believe in them being an absolute. I think most of us can come up with a situation in our lives or in the world where you could say that isn't always true for everyone. So I work on the majority of the time. Secondly, I'm a coach. I love supporting people in living their best life, whatever that looks like. I am not a licensed counselor or therapist. Sometimes to live your best life requires that type of support to get there. I highly encourage you to whatever you need to live your best life, whether it's hiring me as your coach, whether it's getting a counselor, a therapist, talking to your best friends, a clergy member, whoever it is, I encourage you to create that support system around you to help you live your best life, to help you on the days where it's harder to show up in gratitude, and then the days that you're celebrating because everything's going your way. So know that it's possible to live your best life, and it's easier to do so when you have that support. So Kathy is joining again. Welcome. And Dia I know you're from Florida. South Africa is in the house as well. So today I wanted to talk about moving through hard times. And it came to me, first of all, I just got back from a trip out west where I worked and played both. And my flight was delayed, so I got home very late. I'm still kind of trying to catch up on rest. And you know how when you take a day or two off, it seems like the work is more like 3 days, whether it was the one day you took off. So I'm still trying to catch up with that. And then I let the news of the world, of the U.S. get to me this morning. So I'm like, I'm just not going to go on live today because I'm really not in a positive focus frame of mind to support you in your positivity. However, that's why I call my work Embrace Your Life, because it's easy to embrace your life when things are going the way you want to. How about embracing yourself when you're feeling frustrated, when you're feeling scared, when you're feeling disappointed, angry, all of those things. So it's really about looking at ways to be gentle with yourself and embracing all of you, not just the happy, easy parts of you. So today's topic is that it's how to move forward during a challenging time. So the word I chose, and again, if you're new, when I'm here solo, sometimes I do have guests, but when I'm here solo, I pick a word to discuss, we define it, come up with an affirmation around it, and then tips in order to use it and hopefully become one of your daily practices to support you in living your best life. So today's word is move. The definition of move is go in a specified direction or manner, changing position. So if you're going through a hard time right now, maybe you've let the outer world news get the best of you, or maybe just personally there's something going on. We're going to talk about how to move through it. And sometimes those movements are small where you don't even realize it. I am a word sensitive person, so I'm going to talk about a few different definitions as well and what words I would encourage you to use other than other words. And it's also often in my work, it's the nuance difference. It's the feeling behind the word. So some words for me might have more of a negative feeling than the words for you. Like I've discussed before, I'm not a big fan of the word goals. That sounds very judgmental to me. Like if you don't reach that goal, then you haven't done what you set out to do. I like to use the word experience. Instead of what are my goals, it's what do I want to experience in life. So we're going to talk about those two as far as just the nuances. And it's really important for you to understand if it feels good to you, then use that word. If goals is something that excites you, use that word. If it doesn't, if it feels more punitive, if it feels more like it's holding you back, come up with a different word. Again, it's the nuance of it. So today's word again is move. Go in a specified direction or manner, change position. So sometimes when we're going through a challenge, our movement is, instead of moving forward to feeling a little bit better, we tend to move into staying in that stuck feeling, that disappointed feeling, that angry feeling, that frustrated feeling. Visiting those feelings is not a bad thing. They're there to be seen. They're there to be heard. They want to tell you something that I don't feel safe right now. I'm scared right now or whatever. So it's not about ignoring the challenges of your life. It is about how you're going to move through them. So our affirmation for today is I move forward guided by love. When I got up this morning and I was looking at what's going on in the news, and I do like to stay informed of what's going on in the news, and usually I'm able to stay informed with compassion, love, kindness, and all those things. Today it hit me in a different way. So I was not in that moment. I moved forward guided by love. I was not in a loving space this morning about what's going on. I was in a fearful space. I was in a disappointed space, and I was in an angry space. I was feeding what I don't want in my life, what I don't want in the world. Does it mean ignore what's going on in my life or in the world that I don't like? Absolutely not for me. But it is about bringing love, compassion, and kindness into those hard spaces. So for affirmations, if you've not used affirmations before, it's a simple statement. It's not a good statement, a bad statement. It can be good or bad for you, but it's really about, it needs to feel right for you. Example being, if I were to say, let me say, I'm always positive. Well, this morning I was not positive. So I can immediately say, no, I'm not. So if your affirmation is whatever statement you make, and then you immediately say, no, I'm not, then even if it's a positive statement, I am positive, then it's not positive for you. So I hope that makes sense. So then you're going to want to shift it. You can either do, I am in the process of feeling positive, I'm in the process of becoming positive, or shift it up completely into something that is believable for you. Because affirmations are to replace those negative thoughts that we have in the back of our head that we've had for years, that often they're unconscious thoughts. So it's not like you're necessarily thinking about it, but you are making decisions from that space. So I encourage you to create affirmations for yourself that you're going to want to say. Maybe you write it down so you look at, I like to put mine on colorful sticky notes. So today's is, I move forward guided by love. And that is powerful for me, because even on those mornings when in that moment I was not in a loving space, it reminds me to go back to, how can I move through this hard time? How can I move through these frustrated feelings from a space of love rather than a space of complaint, blame, shame, or complaint? So when I'm in blame, shame, and complaint, I'm feeding absolutely what I don't want. Does not mean what I don't want isn't right in front of me, but it does mean that I'm feeding that and giving it more energy to grow. When I go into love, kindness, compassion, then I'm more likely to be in a solutions mode. I'm looking for ways to find compassion, ways to find love, even in that hard experience. Again, I want to make sure you're aware, for me, it's not 100% of the time. So there are times that maybe that anger, that's where you're at, and that's okay. So for me, love, kindness, compassion, when I move forward to that space, it allows me to move through the harder times a little easier. So some tips around moving forward. First of all, I want you to know, again, if you're in anger today, frustration, disappointment, any of those heavier feelings, you're not bad, you're not wrong, you're where you're at, and it's important to feel your feels. That's my first tip. Feel your feels. It's to acknowledge them, but it's not to allow them to overtake you. I think a lot of times, and I was this in the past 15 years ago, I would ignore them and just say everything is good. Well, they kept bubbling up until I addressed them and faced them and moved through them. So feel how you're feeling right now. If you're feeling sad right now, if you're feeling lonely right now, if you're feeling scared, angry, if you're feeling joyful, happy, feel what you need to feel and know that you have the ability to move forward. If you need to stay in that space of sadness and grief and disappointment and anger, that's okay too. You will move forward when you're ready to. Feel the feelings, just don't invite them to take over and move in. So feel what you need to feel. If it feels good, then stay there. If it doesn't feel good and you still need to stay there for a while, that's okay too. But when you're aware of how you feel, then you are in the driver's seat. You're able to make those changes and shift and adjust to what you need. When you're on autopilot, life is living you and you're not living life. So tip 2, release the need to compare yourself to others. Your hard times may be easier than somebody else's hard times. They may be harder than somebody else's hard times. Your journey is your journey alone. So you do not need to compare how somebody else is handling hard news, because it may not be hard news for them. And then what is hard news for them may not be hard news for you. You do not need to justify if something is feeling bad to you. You do not need to do anything but feel what you need to feel to move forward. Do not compare yourself to, maybe not even compare yourself to who you were 6 months ago. Like every day we're growing and continuing to grow into our better versions. Some days it's easier than others. So it's about being who you are, being present with who you are right now, being present with your feelings of right now, and know that we're working on the majority of the time, which is 51%, is to feel kinder, more loving, more compassionate, and peaceful within ourselves. And then we're able to share it out into the world a little bit more as well. And then the third one, and we talk about this once a month with Paul, is to question your thoughts. And that's the Byron Katie work. So your thoughts right now might be stressful. Your thoughts right now might be fearful. They might be anxiety ridden. They might be many different things. They might be happy and joyful. But question your thoughts. Is this true? Do you absolutely know that right now I'm angry about XYZ? Is it true that you're angry about that? How do you feel when you're feeling that anger? Identify it, make awareness to how you're feeling in it, and then ask yourself, how do you feel? Excuse me. How do you feel when you don't feel angry? So if whatever you're stressed out about right in this moment, think about it. If you want to write it down in the comments, please do so as well. But like I was stressed out about the news of a Supreme Court issue here in the US today. And so I was feeling that I can't make changes about it. How are we moving backwards? On and on and on and on, all these things. And how would I feel if I did not feel that? Well, I would feel peaceful. I would feel calmer. I would feel more in control. I would feel more solutions oriented when you're coming from this calmer, more peaceful space. So ask yourself, is it true? Are these stressful feelings true? And guess what? They may absolutely be true in the moment, but then go into how it feels in that stress. And then how does it feel if you weren't in that stress? So you're giving yourself, that your brain, the different feelings of, okay, I wouldn't be stressed out if I did not think of it in that light. And then the next tip, what tip are we on? 4, I think, is to not give up. And here's where a definition that I want to explain, because giving up and quitting to me are 2 different things. They may not be for you, but I wanted to give you the definition. So give up is cease making an effort, resign oneself to failure. Quit is to leave, usually permanently. So you may have a dream or something that you're working on, and it's just not going the way you want to. And maybe you're feeling like a failure and you want to give up. Giving up for me, again, is that feeling like a failure part. Quitting is, this isn't right for me anymore. I have a new dream. I have a new way of being. So I'm quitting that particular thing, but I'm not giving up. Giving up for me feels like I'm giving up on myself. Quitting for me feels like I'm quitting a situation, but not myself. Again, if giving up is a word that works for you, then go ahead and use it. But it's really important to feel how things feel for you, and then you can move forward from there. And then the next one I wanted to say, and a lot of people say this, so I'm actually shifting it because we're talking about moving through hard times. Again, my organization is called Positive Focus. My coaching practice is helping people with positivity and embracing their lives fuller. But I want you to stay hopeful rather than stay positive. If you're going through a really hard time, finding the positives in it, finding the gratitude can be challenging. Doesn't mean it's not possible. It is possible, but it can be very difficult. And when you're in that space already and somebody says to you, be positive, my guess is you're really not all that excited about that. And that used to be me 15 years ago. I was that person who would tell you, it's okay, life is good, be positive. Well, you know what? Life is good, and life is also hard and challenging. So it's about meeting your situation where you are. So I'm going to ask you to be hopeful. And the definition of hope is a feeling of expectation and a desire for certain things to happen. A feeling of expectation and a desire for certain things to happen. Positive is constructive, optimistic, or confident. Now, if we're in a really challenging situation, being constructive, optimistic, and confident is probably harder than finding the hope in the situation. Again, they're both words, so I would go into how does it feel for you. I've been doing these daily practices for a long time. So I do look for what's positive in the situation for me because I made it a daily practice for so very long. However, if it's something that you're learning and the word positivity turns you off, because it's a lot of people do see being positive as rainbows and puppy dogs and unicorns, which are awesome, by the way, but it's not in reality as well when we're going through a hard time. So I encourage you to look for things to be hopeful for in the situation as you move forward. And lastly, I'm just going to remind you again, is to feel how you're feeling. Pretending you're happy, pretending everything is going the way you want. There is an element of fake it till you make it. But again, it's a nuanced thing. If you're really pushing that fake till you make it and you're not believing in it, then it's probably not moving you forward. So feel what you need to feel. Let yourself know that there is hope available even in the hardest situations, and do what you can to be gentle and kind to yourself, because the kinder you are to yourself, the gentler you are with yourself, the easier it's going to be that way with other people. I'm a big believer that when you feel loved up, when you feel supported and feel heard and acknowledged in this world, you're far less likely to harm yourself or others. So that's the work that I am here for, is to help people feel a little bit more loved up in their challenges as well as their celebrations. So that's what we have for you today. Let me come into comments and see if there's any questions. Hello, Lisa. I'm glad that affirmation or I'm sorry that you're going through a hard time, but it really is about acknowledging where you are, being gentle with where you are. I don't know, Lisa, you've been with me for quite some time, so I don't know if this is regarding the grief of your mother's passing or if it's another situation, but it is about taking it day by day. And really, I encourage you to acknowledge the times that you are feeling better about it or seeing the hope in the situation without beating yourself up for when you are stuck in the grief, when you're stuck in the fear, when you're stuck in the anger. When we beat ourselves up, and I promise you, I still do this to myself. I'm better at it than I was 15 years ago for sure. But when we beat ourselves up over not feeling better, not doing this, whatever it is, we are feeding the energy of what we don't want. When we find gratitude, when we find kindness, when we find compassion, then we're feeding that energy of what's hopeful, what we do want. And if you're looking at a situation with a lot of negative judgment in it, if you could even see the other person or yourself, whoever created this situation that you're in, if you look at their backstory, you can probably find some compassion of what brought them there. Doesn't mean you agree with it, doesn't mean that it should have still happened, but you can find compassion, because generally speaking, hurt people hurt others. Not everyone. There's a whole lot of people who are hurt in this world who aren't hurting others. More likely it's towards themselves, but we can find compassion to move forward in hard times as well. So compassion is a very powerful tool to have. Oh, good. I'm glad, Kathy, that you like the affirmation as well. Carrie, debt, that's a great one to start working on. And I have spoken about finances and money before, but maybe I need to do that again, because I was just thinking about that the other day. It is such a heated trigger point for many of us, whether we have very little money to people who have a lot of money. It's still something that they want more, and so they're stressed out about it. So I think I will cover that in another session as well, but wonderful to think about. I don't see, hello, Lynn. I don't see any other questions, so I'm going to love and leave you for today. Know whatever challenges you're going through, you are worth getting through them. You're worth being gentle with yourself. You're worth being compassionate to yourself, and you're worth finding that inner knowing that you will make it through with a little bit more hope, a little bit more gentleness and compassion for yourself, and just in general for the world. So focus on more of what you want. The majority of the time, 51% is what maybe you're striving to. And please understand, 51% is the majority, but if you're at 20, 30, 40%, does not make you wrong, and it does not make you a bad person. It just makes you where you are right now. How does that feel? How do you want to feel just a little bit better? I think a lot of times when we take those big monumental steps forward, while that can be good, generally speaking, it's those smaller increment steps where all of a sudden you've been doing your affirmations for a month. And it's like, oh, this really, I'm seeing it work now. Where a lot of times we do something and want the end result to happen the next day, which, by the way, I'm one of those people who would like the results to come quicker. But it really is about a daily practice, and a daily practice of love, kindness, compassion, and peace is what my practices are. I'm at 80% plus the majority of the time. And yet, as I told you this morning, fear, frustration, and all those kinds of feelings had my attention to the point where I thought, I'm not going to go live today. But you know what? It is about embracing all of it, the good parts, the bad parts, the hard parts, the easy parts. Life is beautiful and life is messy. So I will see you on Thursday. I am not sure what the topic will be, but it will be something to help heighten celebrations and lessen sorrows through a positive focus. And Lisa is new from Iowa. Welcome, Lisa. Amy from Ohio is new. I might have said your names before, so let's just say your names 5 or 6 times. And I will send some prayers for you in Pakistan. I'm not going to try to say your name because I probably will not say it well, but I will absolutely send lots of love your way. Sending lots of love to all of you. Thank you so much for being part of this. I love the Positive Focus community because, as you saw, we had people from Pakistan, South Africa, Florida, Ohio, Iowa. I'm in Illinois. I believe Rachel is in Arizona. So people from all over. So go out there and have a beautiful day. Be kind to yourself. Be gentle with yourself. Be compassionate with yourself. Whether you find yourself in celebration or sorrow today, know that you matter. You matter to me. You matter to the world. And most importantly, you matter to you. So we'll talk soon, Thursday. If you have a suggested topic, please put it in comments because I do like to pick comments or topics from the community members as well. You're only seeing me here on the screen, but all of you are part of this community and I appreciate you. So go out there and have a blessed day. We'll talk soon. So long for now.